This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 436.
I program my own computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology. The technology.
Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Sorley, host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events, there are none. So yeah, there's that. No WordCamps coming up. Nothing online that I saw either. So if you have anything that you want me to share, by all means, or jobs, go ahead and shoot them out to me. I'm willing to share. Okay, moving on, segment one in the news. A few things here to talk about. First and foremost, we had another acquisition this past week. Awesomotive acquired WP Charitable plugin. So Awesomotive is the company behind WP Beginner, as well as Opt-in Monster and a plethora of other companies and brands. They've been acquiring things over the past, 5-10 years, and they bought another plugin. So WP Charitable plugin, congratulations to all those involved there. Also in the news, my good friend Michelle Frechette posted over on the Post Status blog an article that she wrote about misogyny in WordPress. It's definitely worth the read, and the comments as well. And it says misogyny in WordPress is real is the title of the post. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. Worth the read, and there's a lot of work to still be done. So there's that. All right, and lastly in the news, WordCamp US tickets went up for sale at 1 p.m. Was it a few days ago from the recording of this? Midweek last week. I forget what day it was exactly. 650 tickets sold out in 88 minutes approximately from what I found and gathered. And the good news is I did get mine. I bought one. I might still be a volunteer. I'm not sure yet if that's going to pan out, but I'm going. And I also booked a flight with points, so I know I get there ideally. I am so excited, and I was looking at the attendees list, and it's just going to be like a huge reunion. Hoping everyone stays healthy before then, and we can just kind of hang out. It'd be really neat to see everybody. So very excited about that. Hope to see you there as well. And all right, moving on. So from that is into the meat and potatoes of this week's episode, segment 2, the 2022 recession and how it may affect your business. So back in episode 371, I spoke about raising prices during the pandemic and with reasons and methods and how to do so. This week, I want to touch about the issue on where some people think the United States is heading, and maybe other parts of the world as well, that being an economic recession. Now, I am no economist, that is for sure. But in my research, and by listening to podcasts and reading things online, on news sites, not in social media. I don't go to social media for my research, truly, in this type of thing. I've learned that economists, they consider there to be two types of recessions. One is a little r, and one is called the big R. The little r being a smaller impact, short-lived, and the bigger R is a larger impact and longer lasting and not good for the country involved, for the U.S. in this case. So, of course, there's much more you could dive into that, and I'm not going to right now because it's not for this type of show. But additionally, there are also the issue currently of inflation, not just in the U.S. and in my own backyard, but worldwide because of the pandemic, because of supply chain, supply and demand, right? And I've been a witness to this already because we're looking for a used car, for example, for my youngest child, and inflation's a real thing. So with that, I have some information to share, starting on the aspect of the recession, how it may affect your business, and maybe things you can do about it. So I have two main sections here. The first one really is companies that thrive in a recession, okay? And there are a whole bunch of them. I'm going to share 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not just companies, but categories of companies. So the first one being, let's say, grocery stores. It's not too surprising, but grocery stores do the best in a down economy. People always need to eat no matter what. And during a recession, a lot of people typically cut back on eating out at restaurants, and they don't order takeout as often. And that makes grocery sales skyrocket more. Okay, that's one category. Healthcare is another category. Like groceries, people still need healthcare to live, and that demand doesn't change or go down at all when the economy does. So healthcare is always, there's always demand for it. And sadly, healthcare in the U.S. is a whole separate discussion we could have. We're not going to. It's crazy here. But the demand for healthcare is going to rise in recessions as people seek help with not just physical help, but mental health as well. I'm in that camp myself. Third category, there's 5 categories here. The third category is the pet industry category. So America, like other countries, but we love our pets. I have a dog. I might mention him. He's at Delvis the dog on Instagram. And when the dog or cats get sick, fall ill, Americans, we spend a lot of money. I believe it's been estimated up to $1.5 billion on pet food and treats back in 2020. It is crazy. So the pet industry is a huge industry that does really well no matter what, especially in a recession as well. The fourth category is cybersecurity and tech support. Now, this is really relevant to what we do here on a daily basis as far as technology goes. So the current recession is taking more people online. We shop more, we work more, we communicate more, we stream more. Everything is online these days, right? So businesses can thrive and will thrive during a recession. Those who can adapt to the current trends, those who can't, those who can will just do better, okay? And the last one is repairs. So even when the economy is slow, things do break, and the recession's not going to slow that down. Your roof, water heaters, plumbing issues, electricity issues, those type of repairs, the blue collar type of work that does not change no matter what happens in the world for the most part. Okay. So now this is not a comprehensive list. I realize that. I found at least 20 to 25 more categories that do really well during a recession. Now, the reason I mentioned these 5 is it's a sample of being perhaps maybe you can niche down and reach out to a category that makes sense for what you do in the WordPress space, in the providing of content, in the providing of support. Any one of those categories could work. A small grocery store in your town, not one of the big chains. Maybe a small pet store, or people who are pet groomers, right? Cybersecurity and tech support. Well, we do tech work, right? We're in the same industry. So you reach out and maybe partner up with another company who is doing well and still might need your help. And of course, repairs. Mechanics, plumbers, electricians, they are not WordPress developers or WordPress specialists or online maybe where they should be. Again, just an idea here how we can, as an industry, also thrive in a recession. Okay, now the next thing up here is to talk about the recession pricing's do's and don'ts. Okay, now recessions typically spur a rash of price cutting, but for a business to thrive, you have to have a much more comprehensive strategy. Okay. Now, pricing during the downturn is kind of odd and tricky, and too often companies will just go ahead and cut prices right off the bat to attract more sales. That said, the right pricing can help a company compete and even thrive during difficult economic times. Okay. So here are some do's and don'ts in a recession for the pricing aspect of things. Now, the things you do want to do. There's 3 of them here, and I have 2 don'ts. First and foremost, create a range of low and high value offerings. Now, I have low and high. I just actually kind of added a middle one just by chance in the last couple of weeks, which I'm not really marketing per se, but it is there just in case I need it. So there's definitely have the low to high value offerings, okay? And that we don't need to cut prices. Make sure you price accordingly, enables you to appease both cost-conscious customers and value-conscious customers without cutting the prices. Have them ready to go. Now, the second one here is to control company costs and reduce inefficiencies. It's time to take another look at streamlining your company processes and your expenses for the good, and not just for the good, but for good, period. In any type of economy, you want to control the costs. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, invest in time and money and innovate to offer something new and unique. Find a new, thing that you can offer, a new product, a new service that really helps you be different and stand out from your competitors, okay? Not necessarily easy, but you want to funnel some time and money into that aspect, okay? Now for the don'ts, there's 2 of them here. Don't discount your products or services in order to compete. Now, if you get into a price war with your competitors without adjusting the value, it's a quick downward spiral and no one wins. It's a race to the bottom, right? It's just not good for anybody in question, and I don't recommend it. And number 2, don't reduce your price on your high-value products and services because it's a high-value product and service for a reason. During the recession, a better strategy, really, from what I've read, is to keep your high-value products and keep them there priced accordingly. Focus maybe more on selling low-value products and services, but don't reduce the price of your high-end packages. Okay, so there you have it. Some thoughts of what might or might not be to come in the US or the rest of the world for that matter. And just keep in mind, the takeaway for y'all here is that changes are coming, good, bad, and ugly. It's hard to say. I don't know. I'm not an economist. I'm not a futurist. The only thing you can't control is your planning to it and your response from it, if that makes sense. Putting your head in the sand isn't an option. It's not going to provide for income. Things happen. Businesses ebb and flow. Economies ebb and flow. And here we are, 2022, early July, and that's just the reality. So kind of do the best you can with the information you have, and that's my recommendation there. All right. Moving on, segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This week's tip, it's a service. It's called StreamYard. It's a live streaming studio in your browser. You can interview guests, brand your broadcast, and more. I have no connection to them. I saw my friend Courtney using it for her stream when she was doing some planning on the WordPress team for on WordPress.org, on learn.wordpress.org. So pretty cool, StreamYard. There's a free level, there's paid levels. Check it out. That's all I got. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email, adam@KitchensinkWP.com, or use that speak pipe function on the website. If you want to support the show, I would love that. Become a Patreon. There's a link on the website. And you can also sponsor the show. There's a form also on the website. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right? Bye-bye.